23 Years on Fire is a 2013 novel by Joel Shepard, and it is book 4 in the Cassandra Kresnov series, though it is also the beginning of a new arc. The second arc, it was written a decade after the first 3. Though the first 3 really kind of work, not so much as standalones. They are sequels. They do take place in chronological order. They're pretty self-contained. This time, the story is also kind of self-contained, though bigger happenings go on in this one. It is still focused largely on our main character, Sandy, but it is going a bit beyond just this personal post-cyberpunk story about this GI, which is pretty much an android, in this new environment and taking it and putting it in more of a space opera setting. The story starts with Ari on another planet, so we already get a broader scope at the beginning, and setting up for a military operation meant to liberate this planet. In drops Sandy from orbit with several dozen others. Missiles launch and the action begins. It's pretty badass, to be honest, right? It reminds me of like Spartans from Halo dropping down from orbit or whatever. It's been a few years since the previous book. Sandy is now 22 years old, and that's pretty much considered ancient for a GI. Interestingly, though, Ricey has undergone some enhancements which kind of bring her more on the playing field of GIs. What does this mean about her humanity, right? Because you have Cassandra Kresnov, who feels very human in a lot of ways, but is not human. And then you have someone like Ricey, who is very strictly human, always impressive in the first 3 books, but now has these modifications that make her post-human in a sense. And so how does that all relate together pretty much is a kind of a topic you'll think about, and that comes up in this book. Rion herself, actually, in this book as well, another one of the GIs, at least later in that original trilogy. She is married. She's raising kids, actually, like they're her own, which is very interesting. And the story, though, of course, as normal, has very explosive moments. The opening one, there's also the politics you'd expect from someone like Shepard. They're pretty engaging. I would say they're not quite on the level of, say, like Spiral Wars yet, though this is pre-Spiral Wars. I'm not sure what the politics are like in this fantasy series, but I don't know. Though they're not bad here, right? That is Shepard's forte, right? It's politics. So I did think that it kind of lent an uneven pace at times to the book, but they're kind of hefty, and so that's kind of normal for Shepard. But I don't know, you'd get used to it in a sense. The other problem I would say though for the book is there's a scene of insubordination which shows loyalty, but it's kind of brushed under the rug when it passes. We very much have a focus over the GIs, even over something like Federation loyalty and Ibrahim in particular this time. In some ways, it's noticeably different from those first 3 Sandy books. And the latter takes a back seat early on as a new polity is introduced beyond the Federation and League, and there's one called New Torah. So we definitely get a broader scope. We definitely get this more space opera things going on, new worlds, new polities, new stuff all around is going on. And I still like the action. I like the big idea concepts. I like the cyberpunk background and Shepard's attention to detail with the politics in particular. The ending is good and a step pretty much to take for more adventures in the series, and there are 2 more books. We also see the horror, though, and the anger from atrocities like genociding your own people, for example. That's kind of dystopian in a lot of ways. More so than the previous books are. The previous books are overall fine societies. They just have corruption and like bad, I guess say bureaucratic stuff going on almost in a way. You see a lot worse places in this one. So it does definitely gets bigger in scope and then more into space opera, but still enjoyable. I'm interested to see where the series goes, and also probably actually one of my favorite titles for a book. I think it works really well. It's pretty cool. Anyways, Liam from Liam's Eyes here.